Teacher Talking Sports, what it does, what it do, how we live. And it was about 10 days ago that it was announced that the Steelers had released quarterback Mitch Trubisky. Of course, Trubisky has been seen as a bust since entering the league. Hey, Rosie, as the second overall pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, especially since 8 picks after Trubisky was the otherworldly Patrick Mahomes. But anyhow, they signed Mitchell Trubisky ahead of the 2022 season. What looked like he would be the starter, as they only had Mason Rudolph and I believe Dwayne Haskins in their quarterback room. But about a month later was the NFL draft, and the first quarterback off the board was taken by the Steelers, Kenny Pickett. So the writing was basically on the wall. While Trubisky would likely start week one, the first sign of struggles, and Kenny Pickett would get the job. Well, this is via Yahoo Sports. I think it's via, I'll tell you in a second. Mitch Trubisky asked via text to congratulate Kenny Pickett for being drafted by the Steelers. Very strange request. So, originally appeared on NBC Sports Chicago. Mentions after they signed him, about 6 weeks later, in an even more barren quarterback draft class, the Steelers took the first one off the board with Pitt's Kenny Pickett. That then Trubisky realized he would be legitimately competing for a starting spot in the shadow of a rookie who provided hope to bridge the gap of success between Ben Roethlisberger and success. Doesn't appear Trubisky was looped into that plan, as a recent report takes us back to that night. Trubisky never stood a chance with the Steelers. Jerry Dulac wrote for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. 6 weeks after he was signed to a 2-year, $14.3 million contract at free agency, March 2022, Steelers took Pickett with their number one pick in the draft. That night, Trubisky was a little surprised, I'm sure he was actually a lot surprised, by a text message that, among other things, asked him to text and congratulate the newest Steelers quarterback. No wonder he played as though he was always looking over his shoulder after that. I mean, some would say, to be fair, that he always seemed to be playing like he was looking over his shoulder. Of course, never reached the heights of being the second overall pick. But it definitely is a strange request, especially since Trubisky had never even played a game for the Steelers at that point, and they're asking him to congratulate a guy who's going to be looking to take his job before he meets him, before they get into training camp. Just something that had to be extremely uncomfortable for Trubisky. So, as I mentioned, Trubisky was released by the Steelers. We take a look at his 2 years with Pittsburgh. Started 2 games last year, 5 games in 2022. Time with Pittsburgh, 64.1 completion percentage, 8 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, a 77.6 rating. Not good. Best year easily came in 2018 when he went 11-3 as the Bears starter. 95.4 rating, and as I mentioned, made the Pro Bowl. But it had to be extremely uncomfortable to ask Trubisky to do that. Not sure what the Steelers were thinking. Especially for a guy who never even took a snap for the team up to that point. Clearly was signed to be the leader, the front runner, to be the Steelers' starting quarterback. If you remember that offseason, the previous year he was actually with the Bills. And while he barely played because Josh Allen stayed healthy that season, his stock went up. It was rumored that a lot of teams might look to sign him to be their starting quarterback. Ended up being the Steelers. Of course, that was a very weak draft for quarterbacks, but Kenny Pickett was the first one taken, and Mitch Trubisky started the season but didn't last long until Pickett took over. And to be fair, Pickett was drafted 20th overall in 2022. To be fair, Pickett hasn't looked that great either. In 24 career starts, just 13 touchdown passes. Ouch. Anyhow, don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend to subscribe. Like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications. I'm out.